All right. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight for the 4th Ward Council meeting. I have with me this evening Mr. Bill Harrison, who will be doing an update a little later. So I wanted to thank you all for joining us on this rainy evening. My good friend Lynn, who is out in the hallway, we have some index cards and golf pencils because I'm going to ask everyone to please hold their questions to the end. If you need an index card and some pencils to write questions down, just see Lynn. She'll be right here by the front door, and I have some up here. I'll pass them around. The only way we can get through this is if we hold our questions till the end, so please and thank you. Lynn, can you bring the pencils and index cards out, please? Y'all just have to bear with me. I got one arm. This sucks. All right, Rick, we're ready for the next slide. Okay, thank you, Lynn. Oh. So again, I'm your 4th Ward Counselor, Amina Toller. If you're on social media, please take the time to follow me. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. Those are my handles. And if you're signed up for my email database, please check your spam folder for constant content because it usually goes there. I share a lot of information, updates, events, flyers, things of that nature. And if you're not getting it, please check your spam. And if you signed in tonight, I can add you to my database. If you don't wish to be added to the database, please see me after the meeting and I'll remove your name from our sign-in sheet, okay? Next slide, Rick. Just wanted to give a quick update on SNAP benefits. I know many in our community have been very concerned about those residents who were without SNAP benefits. New Jersey SNAP benefits have been fully funded. There are still efforts underway at these 3 organizations if you wish to donate canned goods or items for the families as they try to recuperate from that first week without any benefits. Tony's Kitchen, Montclair Mutual Aid, and the Human Needs Pantry. If you want to just take a minute and take a picture of that flyer, if you feel like you want to drop some groceries off to any of those places, please feel free, but SNAP benefits are up and running again for families in New Jersey. I like to always give a new business alert shout out to a business in the 4th Ward. We have a new coffee place on Claremont Avenue in the CVS complex. It's called Roasted. It's really great, so try him out. It's inexpensive, not as expensive as Starbucks, and the coffee is very, very good. So I just wanted to let everybody know we have a new business in the 4th Ward. This is a business that's already been here, but Dr. Mincy asked me to share with everyone that he's running some specials. Integrated healthcare. He's into holistic healing, cleansing, etc. He's right there on Bloomfield Avenue. Many of you already know Dr. Mincy, and if you don't, please check out Integrated Healthcare for some of the specials that he's offering for your aches and pains. I'd like everybody to save the dates for our upcoming council meetings. I want people to remember that I am one vote, one voice. If my colleagues don't see you, they don't hear me. I'm going to say that again. If they don't see you, they don't hear me. Please find the time to try and attend some of our council meetings. Have your say during your 3 minutes at the public podium. Address whatever issue, comment, concern, complaint, question you may have to the full council. It's that important. Okay, so please try and make these meetings. You get 3 minutes, you get your 3 minutes of fame. Say whatever's on your heart, ask whatever question you need to be asked so that the full council can hear from you and we can make better informed decisions that'll be equitable for all 4 wards. Thank you. Community events around town. I normally bring flyers. They're on these tables. You can pick up as many as you want. I know that all of us follow different social media platforms. Some of us get information old school way, just in our mailbox. But please take a look at the flyers on the table, look at all the great events that are going around in town in the next couple of weeks. I like to give updates on our township committees. I've said this before at every meeting that this is kind of where the meat and the potatoes happens for our town. If you have time, we request that you try to put in a volunteer application for one of these committees. If you see something that interests you, we can see what vacancies we still have available and start having discussions at the tables. Those discussions at these committee meetings turn into bigger ordinances for the council to vote on. So if you're wishing to have a voice and have a seat at the table, I highly recommend joining one of our committees. Same thing with our township commissions. Those are where the meat and potatoes happen. If you have the time, if you have the interest, please put in a volunteer application. It can be found on our township website. And, state the reason why you're interested in volunteering your time to help our township. It's important that we have equity amongst the committees and the commissions. We have a few job openings at the township. They're listed here. If you know someone that's interested, or maybe you're interested, you can visit our township website. There is a hiring freeze implemented at the moment, but these jobs are open and will be filled. So if you know anyone that's looking, we are in desperate need of an engineer. We do have an in-house firm that we use. We're trying to go back to an in-house engineer, as well as a junior engineer and an engineering supervisor. Crossing guards, that's through the police department. We need an assistant CFO. We do have a new CFO with us now. And our complete street directors, we need another person. So again, take a look at those job descriptions. Maybe you have a family friend or a neighbor that might be interested. Please let them know that these positions are open and please apply. Code enforcement. I just wanted to touch on this because I've gotten a lot of emails from residents about code enforcement, when they're open, how it works. You could just take a minute. There's a phone number that you have to call to file a complaint. They're asking that you leave a message with the admin assistant. There is an email that you can use regarding code enforcement. It's there for you. And it also says that to please include your contact information if you want code enforcement to call you back. I know that there was some language in the past about you had to Oprah request your status of a code enforcement request, but that's not true. The phone number's there, the email's there, and if you have any questions regarding anything going on in your neighborhood that you believe code enforcement should be looking into, the information is there for you. I'll just leave it up for a few minutes if you want to take the number down or the email address, and please use it. Parking commits. We've had questions about parking commits here at town. There's a phone number for you to call. If people need them, you'd have to create an account online, go through the process. They'll notify you if you've been approved for the permit. So the phone number's there. I'll leave that up for a few minutes for you to take the number down, look over the instructions. This is all on our township website as well, but I just want people to have it because I get a lot of emails about how do I get a permit, where do I get a permit, and I just wanted to share and make sure that everyone was aware. So there's code enforcement again. Okay, thank you. Project updates. I like to let the fourth ward know what projects are going on in our ward here. As you can see, we have 2 approved projects in the fourth ward, which is 10 Hartley Street, as well as 150 High Street. The other projects are in front of either our zoning board or our historic planning preservation committee. There isn't anything in front of our planning board at the moment. These meetings are open to the public. They have public comment involved. I highly recommend that you visit our township website and look at the upcoming applications, decide if you want to participate in the planning board or zoning board or historic preservation committee meeting to have a say. Maybe you like these projects, maybe you don't. Maybe you need to have some more information. I highly recommend you attend these meetings just like you do a council meeting because that's just that important, okay? There's some township surveys on our website. Again, please, please, please participate in these surveys because these surveys will help shape and mold what it is we wish to see Montclair to be. There's a shuttle bus survey. We have a survey up regarding location for a possible new municipal building. We have a community health assessment online. And you have to take the survey because without the survey, we won't get an equitable, fair, round number of residents participating and deciding what it is we need to do with your money. Okay? The shuttle bus survey, I think it was 2,500 people that participated. There's over 40,000 people in this town. 2,500 turns into 6%. I don't think we need 6% to tell us whether we should or shouldn't, so I highly recommend that you please participate in every single survey that you see on our township website. And if you don't have the Recycle Coach app, download it to your app, and you can check out Adopt a Drain program that's run through the Office of Sustainability. That information is on our township website as well. Next slide. Ward captains. What is a ward captain? I have a definition here. I'll let you read it over. If anyone is interested in becoming a ward captain and kind of locking arms with me, please see me after the meeting and I can go into more detail for you. But I'll leave that up again because, again, To be the 4th Ward Counselor, it starts with you. Each and every one of you, okay? We're a unit. Next slide, please. Tonight, you're going to hear presentations from our Communications Director. Ms. Freeman or someone from Vanguard is here for our commercial break. Courtney Mercer is here from Safe Streets for All. We have Ms. Talley, who's going to talk about Nishuane Park and Orange Road. And then Bill Harrison will talk about Lackawanna update. But what I'm going to do is let Ms. Talley go first because she has to leave shortly. Then we'll hear from Matt and the others. Is there another slide, Rick? There's our Contact Us page. There's everyone's email address and name for you. Next slide. I think that's it, though. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Ms. Talley since she has to leave, and we'll hear from her on 399 Orange Road, as well as Nishuane Park. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Good evening. I'm happy to see everybody here this evening. I don't have a lot to report, but I am happy to say that the excavation and fill at 399 Orange Road is completed. So the remediation is nearing its end. The contractor has to come back and redo the sidewalks. They have to build the retaining wall along the western edge of the property so that we have a fully level site. Those of you who have been in part of this discussion before know that the plan for this property is to create a park, a passive park. We have also just received an announcement that we did get funding to make this what's called a resilience park. And by that I mean the DEP accepted our application to construct an underground detention basin on this park to store the stormwater that flows past this property going down the hill. It will store it and then slowly release that stormwater, thereby reducing the velocity of stormwater as it bypasses this property. Along with that grant, we have funds for engineering and design of the stormwater retention basin, as well as funds for design and implementation of the park improvements itself. So we just did receive the announcement last week. The total grant award was for that part of this project is $326,000. And once we negotiate the contract terms with DEP, we will then issue an RFP to retain a consultant to actually do the work. I do know that there's a group, Counselor, in your ward that's very interested in participating in this. So as we go through the process to get this grant up and running and get our design professional on board, I anticipate that we will have meetings with the community to discuss the design itself. So I'm very happy to give that report on 399 Orange Road. It's been a long road to get to where we are right now. And I honestly don't have anything to report about Nishuane Park. I have not personally been involved in any projects involving Nishuane Park, unless you meant, Counselor, the proposal for CDBG funding?
No.
Okay.
Austin actually was doing some work on it.
Okay.
But maybe he didn't share it with you.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that.
I should give that little update.
Okay.
Are you done? I'm sorry.
I am done. That's all I have to report. I can answer any questions about this project.
Yes. When they come back, will they put up some sort of notification? Because when they initially came to do the excavation, there were no, at least not that I can recall or see, any notices of this work is going to be taking place and these roads will be shut down. And I'm saying they started sooner than they're supposed to. So will they take care of that?
Well, I'm not sure if you mean this project. We notified the neighbors and had to get their agreements with the neighbors before construction even started. So there was nothing, no surprise about when this was beginning. But they're done. The only
Did the neighbors
Yes, immediately. Right, that we did not notify the other neighbors in the neighborhood. Yes. Yes, it is legal. The township ordinance allows construction to start at 7 a.m.
Quite loud, so when they come back, because it did affect the time, it sounded like thunder, like the guys were bowling down the street or something. But will they start at 7 again?
I did receive your notice of your complaint, and I did reach out to the contractor. Unfortunately, they've structured their contract with their workers to work 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And for them to change the hours would have created additional costs that I was not authorized to increase. And by the time we went back and forth, they were basically done with the project. So they've completed that. But I hear what you're saying, and I will reach out to the contractor to inform them that the sidewalk work and the retaining wall work should not start before 9 a.m.
I have one more question. Why did you feel that this was so necessary to start now, as opposed to making a crosswalk for the kids to cross the street so they can catch the bus?
The project is independent of any improvements for a crosswalk. It's state funded. We basically, when the state funds became available, we issued the RFP, got the contract, and it was really dictated by the funding term.
Thank you. Any other questions? Sure.
Yeah, I just wanted, but can you let the other areas, the other streets know that that the next phase will be occurring, so that it won't necessarily be a surprise to us if something is blocked off, and so we're aware.
Okay, I don't believe anything will be blocked off when they redo the sidewalks, but when we come back and we work on the detention basin, which will require quite a bit of site work, we will certainly let the neighbors know, including the general neighborhood, and post it on our newsletter and the township website. So, okay?
Will they put up signs on the poles, because sometimes that will take place, where they put up a sign on the poles, the street poles or whatever is available, so that you would be able to see that?
I'll work with the contractor. We'll work with the contractor to notify when construction's anticipated to start and put a sign up. That's reasonable, okay?
Thank you. And just so you know, for the residents that are near 399 Orange Road, I had an email back and forth today with our township manager regarding just what you're talking about. And basically, the oversight, somewhere the ball was dropped, in my opinion. I'm going to make 112% sure that going forward, whatever's going to happen at 399, that the residents are notified. And I am pushing for it to start a little later. I know that there's a cost factor to doing that, but I believe residents' quality of life matters. Okay, 7 a.m. is too early. If we can get them to start at 9, that's what we need to do. And they need to be done by 4. The last time, I think they stopped around 5 or 6. It's not fair to the residents to hear that noise all day long. So, I've told the manager that we've spent money in other places to do far less, that this ward is no different, and the residents deserve to have a peaceful life. That's it. That's it. So I'm pushing for it. I'm just letting you know. But again, our council meeting is Wednesday, so if you want to come on up and have a say, that'll be great. All right, so we're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to hear from Vanguard Theater. Then we'll go into Matt with his communications updates.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me okay? Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Asia Todd. I am the Community Engagement and Events Coordinator at Vanguard Theater. Our Artistic Director, Janice Freeman-Clark, was unable to be here with us tonight, but I wanted to just give some important community events updates that we're doing. So as some of you may know, we launched our 10th anniversary season this past October. We are over on 180 Bloomfield Ave, if you have not been to our space, right around the corner. And so our big theme of this season is claiming our stories. And so every story in our lineup has to do with helping our audiences reflect on their own stories and how we can use those to reimagine our future. And so we're proud to be in partnership with the university as well as the New Jersey Play Lab to bring this new community event that we have called the Quilt Keepers. And so the Quilt Keepers is especially about Montclair's 4th Ward. It runs December 15th to the 17th. And we were honored to have reached out to people in the community. We reached out to Councilwoman Amina as well as the Nubian Heritage Guild. We also had some input from the Montclair History Center, for among others, to kind of inform this project about Montclair's history and the importance of preserving the history through quilt keeping and other initiatives. So we just wanted to invite you all to save the date for that and be there with us to have these conversations about where we want the community to go and honoring that history. So that's all from me. I wanted to keep it short. Yes, and I'm going to leave flyers up there. If you have more questions about the project or about Vanguard and what's upcoming, I will be here for the whole meeting. So if you want to catch me at the end, you can. Thank you.
Thank you, Asia. We're very lucky to have Vanguard Theater here in the 4th Ward. It's run by us, for us, by us. So if you haven't been to a show, please check them out. It's a great opportunity. And I think you guys have like a little ready-to-drink liquor license, correct? Okay, we can have a real whole party there. All good stuff. Next up, we're going to hear from our Township Communications Director, Matthew. You want us to call you Matt or Matthew? Just don't call you late for dinner. I got you. Okay, Matt.
Thank you very much. If you want to scold me like my parents, then call me Matthew, but usually Matt. Hi, everybody. As Councilor Toller said, my name is Matt. I'm the Communications Director for the Township. I have been working for the Township for just over a year, since October of last year. I'm originally from West Orange. I am currently a resident. Not the 4th Ward, but close. I'm on Union Street, so 3rd Ward, close. And before doing this, I was doing nonprofit communications and NGOs in the city, and then came back here to be out with family, and then I figured, every municipality, every entity of government needs communications, and the timing was right, and there was an opening, so now I'm here. So I'm just going to speak for a few minutes. What I want to do is just quickly go over the different ways the township communicates, what we're trying to do with each platform. My real goal is just to get anybody in here who's not signed up for our emails to make sure they get them. So I'm going to do two things. I have a flyer that I left over the table that has a QR code, which will take you to the page to sign up for emails, or a lot simpler. Here's an email sign-up sheet. You just leave your name and email. At the end of the night, I'll take it back, and I will add emails myself to the system. Down arrow. I knew that. Okay, so first thing I just want to touch on is the website. As it says up there, central hub for town information, form, permits, official township meetings and events. You can find agendas, all our staff contact information, news updates, events, meetings, and the homepage, which I'll show in a second, has quick links to what people want to go on there the most: pay bills, report issues, sign up for alerts. I know that a township website isn't necessarily part of someone's entertainment consumption. People are going on the website usually for a specific need. So I always like to say the website, we try to keep it on the business end of things. Make sure the most important information is up there: legal information, information that people need, and permits and forms, and just the stuff that everybody really needs. So on one part of our website is the news. There's like a tab that shows the 3 most recent news that we share. So most recently is the newsletter. If there's a change to the council meeting start time, that's something we statutorily have to communicate. So that'll be up there. Information about our Veterans Day services. And then there is a light. Exciting. View more news down here. So this just shows like the 3 most recent news that were posted, but you can always stay up to date by clicking this, and it'll show every news article that we posted recently. And then onto our events. And I just with the township website and events, I don't think of it so much as community calendar where you're going to see every event that's going on in town. We very much want it to be focused on, official meetings, board meetings, commissions, Veterans Day services, because that's a township-run event. Veterans Day tomorrow, public holidays closed. We advertise our ward meetings on there. And then it's not up here, but if you click on View More Events, there's a whole township calendar on there, and you can even sort. If you just want to see when are the next planning board meetings, you can sort by that, or you can search for everything that's going on. And then the other side of communication, how you guys can communicate with us. Is my arrow there? Yes, it is. So on the homepage, the first thing you see above the news and events that I just saw is these 6 buttons. And we have a link that says Reports in Issue. And that takes you to what's called our Q Alert system. It's like a 311 system. Now, my only caveat with this is we are potentially moving to a new system that I think is better and more efficient and easier to use. But the report and issue button will always be there. So even if it's a new system in 6 months, that'll be the same. But for now, this brings you to the Q Alert site. And most people want to use it for the request for service button here. There's also a knowledge base. It's like a collection of articles about common issues and complaints that people have. There's my circle. Sorry. And then once you click that, it'll go to a page where you can select the category of the complaint that you have, whether it's a pothole, street lighting issue, maybe someone selling food without a permit somewhere. And the way the system works is on the back end, each complaint is tagged. So if it's a pothole, it gets automatically sent to Department of Community Services. And then that way the director of the department can take care of it from there. And then my real goal, as I said before, to make sure everyone's getting our emails and communications. There's the button for sign up for alerts and important information. But like I said, you can also just, I'm going to put this out there. You can just write your email, or you could always just email me. I have an email that's my name, M. Amaral, but it's much easier to remember, info@montclairnjusa.org. That's a generic inbox, but it goes to my inbox. So I always say, if you don't know who to contact, if you don't know which department your issue is for, if you want to sign up, but maybe it was confusing or something went wrong, you can just send an email to me and I'll help you out. What do we communicate over email? So one of the biggest things is a township newsletter. There wasn't one when I started. We started one that gets sent on a monthly basis, usually towards the beginning of the month. We'll communicate about community meetings in your ward, public hearings, other official meetings, alerts more on the sort of safety advisory side. So road closures, weather advisories, which is coming up for the winter. The Office of Emergency Management does have the capability to text people. We haven't done that, but just in the case of, I don't know, a boil water advisory or something urgent or really, in the case of emergency, we have the ability to text as well. And then we'll send out information that, we think is relevant for the whole community. Like we just sent an email about all the property tax relief programs available, voter registration, hydrant flushing, so people don't get worried when their water is brown out of the sink. So we just try to keep everyone updated with, not just things that we have to, but things that we think are relevant and good for people to know. I also want to point out, these are newsletters from 2 of our departments. So the health department puts out their own newsletter, and Senior Services, Lifelong Montclair, also puts out their newsletter, which are available on the website. So you can do a bit deeper of a dive into health and senior services. And then social media. So just want to make sure people are aware. Our 2 main social media accounts are Facebook and Instagram. And social media is it's a little less business than the website. We'll share things, events and nonprofits and initiatives going on around town. So it's a little, we'll share everything that's on the website as well, but it's a little more. We have our YouTube, where every council meeting, every public meeting is posted on there. That's managed by our production manager, Rick. My little caveat with social media is that it's not an official channel where we're monitoring comments or messages. I always tell people to find the contact information for the person you need to get in touch with, or like I said, info@montclairnjusa.org. Our police department has their own very good social media. Our recreation has their own Facebook, so that's good for updates on specific programs that they're running. My joke is that I can never compete with puppies and kittens. Our animal shelter Facebook has 15,000 followers. Our Facebook has 5, so 5,000, not just 5. And then the public library also has great social media, great contact on there. So I encourage people to follow all these accounts. And then we always still want to do some offline communications. So we'll do things like send things out in the mail. When the budget was sent, our township manager wrote a cover letter explaining the budget, breaking it down, just giving you some more information on the budget, and that was included as a cover letter in the last tax bill mailing. Not the last one, but when the budget was set in the summer. We sent out our affordable housing survey that was earlier this year. That was part of a sustainability initiatives mailer. So it's really expensive to mail stuff out. I was kind of surprised when I joined, but we still try and get stuff in people's mailboxes. That's important. I'm sure you've seen, if you've come to the council chambers, we have a whole wall with flyers and information. So I encourage anyone coming for a council meeting just to check it out. Of course, live sort of in-person meetings like these ward meetings, public hearings. One thing we're trying to do with surveys is not just make them online. So the shuttle bus survey that we did a little while ago, we had actual printed out surveys available at the township manager's office. So if anyone didn't want to fill it out online, they could fill it out manually, and then we would input the responses ourselves. And then we try to put stuff around town, like the shuttle bus survey. That was a big effort. We posted that cafes, community centers, libraries. So, a lot of things are online these days, but we try to make sure that we're covering as many bases as possible. And that's really it for me. So just one more little plug. I'm going to leave this sign-up sheet on the table over there, or the flyer with the QR code. So you can get our emails. And that's it. Can I take questions, or do you want to wait?
Does anybody have a question? I'm sorry. Yeah, we should go into that. Go ahead, Jessica. Was it Jessica first, or?
Hi, we met at a meeting this summer. You sort of said at the beginning of your comment, and then I noticed that sort of was the theme of everything that you presented. And while I know you worked very hard to get all this information put together, I think that we have a real problem with the information that with you and Inside 205 reaching the community, and that everything that was shared is about how we go to you to get the information we need. And so I think that what happens is that people are, like you said, we go because there's a bill or a problem, or we're going to find out something because something specific has come up in our lives. But as things are happening at 205, as ordinances are being updated, as maybe there's a street closure, et cetera, that there's not a fluid trickle over out from you to the community in, I think, a tangible way. Like, it relies on us to sign, maybe people have signed up for the newsletter, so that you have to rely on expecting all members of the community who communicate in different ways to come to you to find that information. And we had talked about, and I know, again, this is just one corner of it, which is social media, but we have 2 very robust social media Facebook pages that, even though it's not the entire community, but it's thousands of people. There's 18,000 people on Secret Montclair. There's 12,000 people on Moms and Dads. And I wonder why we can't do some consolidated posts that maybe are reposted there with permission from the admins, so that as all those people are scrolling through every night, looking at all the gossip and this and that, they also find out that a lot changed in this community. Or there's going to be serious street closures that everybody should know about, and that every which way that that information can come out to us, rather than us needing to come to you to learn about it. I just think it would be highly effective, and I guess I'm really surprised that in 2025, where social media kind of rules the world, that that's one pocket that is completely not tapped into in this community within the township. And I think it's a real loss. And I think we hear a lot about, how are we going to get the word out? And then there's no action to get that word out in a truly tangible way.
Yeah, so I can speak to the part about social media. I know this came up. We actually brought that idea of posting stuff to these private groups. Councilor Toller was in support. It was discussed within the communications committee. So there's 3 elected officials on that committee, me, our IT manager, and the township manager. They were not comfortable with posting in these private groups and having a government account sharing content to what's a private secret group. But it's a great idea. And I think the whole point is that we're trying to bring information to where you guys are already at. These Facebook groups, no, not secret, I just meant private, yeah.
I just have to say, as an attorney, I really don't think that's an issue if they were supposed to any closed comments and this is informational. So there's a way to control for that and not.
Yes. That was what, you're an admin of Secret Montclair, and that was a suggestion to close the comments, but the rest of the group did not feel comfortable.
There's certain people who don't like social media, and that's a personal problem and a personal issue, and they can get over it because that's the way a lot of people communicate. And each social media platform has its own use and own purpose, right? So, there's a way that you can get 5,000 people who ordinarily would not look at it, then what's wrong with that?
Yeah, this was all discussed within the group, but do you want to speak to it?
Yep, I tried to advocate for it and explain to the communications committee. I think I'm going to go back to them because when you look at other municipalities, East Orange has a Facebook page, Newark, Irvington, everyone has their own Facebook page. I'm not sure why Montclair Communications Committee can't kind of wrap their brain around Facebook is the now for people, if you will. It's where you get your information. I try to share as much information that I get from 205 in Secret Montclair and the moms and dad groups, but that's just extra work for me. So it has to be a bigger discussion with our communications committee council members so that they can maybe give them a little lesson, go out and look at other municipalities and see what they're doing online to feel a little more comfortable about the legality of it. So I'm not certain, but I'm happy to work with you and continue to stick by you.
Say it's very easy to say it's a legal issue if you don't like something.
No, it wasn't, I don't want to.
No, it's not you, it's that people on that committee, because, there's people who love newsletters, or emails or whatever, but if you're a company, you're going to think, what are the ways I can communicate my product? And the product are, new ordinances, laws, that sort of thing. So, construction at 399 Orange Road. These are all things that could come out and say, okay, let's think about these ways. There are different techniques and use them. It's not that one is better than the other.
I'm sorry, I want to get
one more question on communications, please, and then we'll have it moving on. Okay, we're going to take one more question. Was there someone new? Yes. Did you have a question?
Yeah. These are all great ideas, and right now, and I don't know if this is really overlapping between the Board of Ed and Township, but people are desperately seeking clarification and information right now, as we all know, about this upcoming referendum.
Yes.
There's nothing that I'm aware of that is issued from the town or the Board of Ed that I'm aware of. We need to know this. This is a huge vote with no time in advance to know about it, directly affecting our ability to stay in town. So I'm just bringing that up with the communications part of things, and I don't know if it's appropriate for something to issue from the town. There was a really good editorial, was in the Montclair Local. Somebody wrote, not an editorial, somebody wrote a letter, Barbara Rosen maybe, with these type of questions. I think we deserve to be informed about this huge
I agree. I personally have written a letter, and I'm waiting for our township attorney to approve it and authorize it. What the counselor had on, I have to be mindful of what I can say and not say. I can't speak for my other colleagues. I know that the Finance Committee will be discussing this particular issue and trying to figure out a way how we, the council, can put a voice out there if we can. I know that there's going to be some residents hosting a meeting here on the 17th to help those discussions happen. I want to call them experts in Montclair Board of Ed and what the vote's going to look like for residents. I will be part of that meeting here on November 17th, so you're all welcome to come back, and it'll just be kind of a roundtable discussion to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly from it. But hopefully we'll have an answer at our next council meeting as far as what we, the council, can say or put out as a statement. You know, I understand where you're coming from, and a little later on this evening, we do have some residents here that have some questions and maybe some answers you guys can listen to for that particular question, okay? Sure, and then after that, I'm going to take a commercial break because Jose has 2 words to say. I forgot about him back here.
So we are drafting, we drafted today just an explainer from the township side on the actual collection of the taxes and the levies. And in the explainer, we say, you know, school board's responsible for this. We're not editorializing the referendum in any way, but we are putting together an FAQ on how are the taxes going to be collected, the timing, and so on. The Board of Ed also has a pretty lengthy FAQ explainer on their website. I'm not sure how well they've done a good job of communicating it, but in our FAQ, we'll be sure to link to that.
Jose, you can visit the Board of Ed website. I'm not going to tell you don't do that. You should read any and everything, and you can.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just wondering, with that referendum, if there's going to be some talk on December 17th, like that gives you the pros and the cons for both. Like if you vote yes, what are the pros of voting yes? What are the cons to voting yes? Just keeping it simple. And if you vote no, what are the pros to voting no and the cons to voting no? Because that kind of gives you, especially if it's done in a non-biased way, I would hope, it kind of gives you some insight and ground to stand on based, you know, it helps you decide what your vote would be. But just kind of giving you the information does not give us, at least does not give me necessarily the pros and cons, because I am not someone who's nuanced in that area. So if we could have people that are, that would, someone who's informed, who has walked on, you know, in those shoes, we could do.
Right, and from a township level, we aren't those people because the Board of Ed is not under. From a township level, we aren't those people because the Board of Ed is not under the township anymore. Once the Board of Ed flipped to an elected board, we're not quote unquote responsible for the BOE. So I don't believe that we can be the experts to give you advice on yes, 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 no, or no, no. Instead, we will have to work with these independent groups of parents and residents that have come together to help people better understand what the impact of a vote will be. Okay, does that make sense? We can have a little discussion at the end. We do have some people here tonight that are interested in sharing their thoughts on this Board of Ed vote, but it's not from the township. These are just residents who are very passionate, very concerned, and want to make sure that we all understand what these votes mean and is it equitable for everyone in town. Okay? Yeah. I'm going to go to Jose now because he has to go. We're going to get to that a little later. Yes, there is. So visit their website. There is a superintendent is hosting a meeting. You're correct. Jose, you want to come up and give us a few words that you wanted to share on your project? And after that, we will hear from Courtney Mercer and Safe Streets, who's been patiently waiting in the back.
Thank you, Councilor. My pleasure to be here tonight. My name is Jose German Gomez. I am the founder of the Northeast Earth Coalition. For those who are not into social media, we are a nonprofit, volunteer-driven based in Montclair. We do a lot of community work, especially in the Fort Worth. And the most beautiful thing is that we inspire neighbors to get engaged in different projects. We have community gardens to support our senior citizens and people facing food insecurity. We also have a network of free little pantries who are supporting families facing food insecurity across the town. All of this has been done without public funding. So I want you to know that if you feel the call to support local organizations, the Northeast Earth Coalition is doing a lot of great jobs around. We are educating the youth in environmental issues also, and making them environmental ambassador. We are restoring and connecting people to the environment and doing other projects in different park beautification projects, most of them in the forward. So if you want to learn more, here is the information, it's on the table, and thank you for your support.
Thank you, Jose. And again, make sure you pick up his literature. Jose has been turning it over beautiful produce to 340 Orange Road and First House for the seniors, and the abundance and the vibrance of his products are just absolutely gorgeous. So if you think you have a green thumb or want to help, check out his literature, and all of the products are turned right back into the residents here in the 4th Ward. Next up, we'll hear from Courtney Mercer for Safe Streets for All. And after that, the big one will be Mr. Bill Harrison and Lackawanna updates. Thank you.
Thank you so much. He's going to pull a PowerPoint up, but I will get started real quick. So the township received a grant from the federal government to create a safety action plan around street safety, and we're talking about from traffic, so being able to walk, bike, and drive safely around the community. Oh, and there's a clicker, right? Let's see if I can figure out. There we go. So this is just I'm a consultant. I work for Mercer Planning Associates, and I do community engagement. And so we want to hear from you tonight, not in this big, large public forum. We're in the back to hear from you because I know the counselor has a lot to get through this evening. But basically, the purpose of the action plan is to improve safety, mobility, and quality of life for all users of the roads. We want to reduce the number of fatalities and serious injuries on the roads here in Montclair. And we're using kind of a data-driven approach. So we're looking at crashes, and we have some maps in the back, and I'm going to go over the data real quick with you, but also community-led. So we want to hear from you what your experiences are using the streets and what your priorities are. So really quick, we've already run the crash data, and you can kind of see where the hot spots are. So the dark red is where there's the highest frequency of crashes, and so Bloomfield Avenue, Claremont Avenue, Walnut Street, and then around several of the train stations, Upper Montclair, Watchung Ave, and the Walnut Street stations are where a lot of the crashes in this community are happening. Really quick, so there is a disproportionate impact on walkers and bikers. So if you look on the left column, 95% of all the crashes involve two cars, right? Involve vehicles only. Another 5%, 4.5% involve pedestrians or cyclists. But if you look at what we call fatal, FSI stands for fatal and severe injury crashes, while bicycle and ped crashes are only 4.5%, 56% of all those fatal and serious injury crashes involve bicyclists and pedestrians. And that's why we feel it's so important to come up with solutions to protect what we call vulnerable road users, those who are most impacted and most severely injured when it comes to it. And why is this? Speed impacts it. So if you look at the chart on the left, if a person is struck at 20 miles per hour, there's only a 5% chance of a fatality. You go up by just 10 miles per hour, so if a person is struck at 40 miles per hour, it's a 45% chance of a fatality. And then finally at 40 miles per hour, and that's what a lot of people around here are driving at, right? You're at an 85% chance of fatality. So again, we want to come up with design solutions that slow people down and protect the pedestrians and cyclists. And so with that, we have either print surveys that you can fill out on a clipboard, or we have a nice little activity that we'll walk you through in the back. So at the end of the meeting, please come talk to us and share your experiences so we can inform this action plan. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Courtney. You have one question? Well, before I get to your question, one question for you. This data that you're presenting, what year is this from?
So the latest statistical data, so your police report down to the state, and then the state crunches all that data, cleans it up, et cetera. So the most recent data is sadly 2022. So it is it's a 5-year, but it is a 5-year span from 2018 to 2022. So you do get a snapshot, but yeah, it is a little behind.
It's a little behind.
Yep.
Okay, did you still have a question, Ms. Avery? Yes, go ahead.
So my question, you talk about the increased mortality from higher speeds, and then you commented, everybody's driving around town at 40 miles per hour. So my question is, why aren't the Montclair police enforcing the speed limit?
Yeah.
Like, why do we have to go through this?
I agree.
I agree too. So, can we not put, so who is do we not pay the Montclair police to protect us?
We do.
So, why aren't they doing their job? What do we have to do to get them to do their job? I mean, I just don't understand.
I agree with you. I've talked to the police chief and the deputy chief. They actually believe that they need more officers. I cannot say the full council supports that, but what I can say is if you believe your tax dollars should be put to work to get more police here to do enforcement, our council meeting is Wednesday, 7 p.m.
I don't think we need more police officers.
What I'm telling you is a conversation that I had with the chief. No, it may be, but enforcement is one thing. They say that they don't have enough manpower to do exactly what's needed.
But when there's an accident, 10 cars show up.
I agree.
So what have they been doing? What
I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert.
There they are.
I hear you. I respect what you're saying, and I think you should bring it to the full council. Anyone should bring it to the full council on Wednesday, and just let it be heard. I agree. We probably do need some more enforcement behind traffic safety here. We know that the Fourth Ward has a lot of accidents. That's why I asked Courtney where this data from, because in the past year I reported over, I think, 22 accidents in under 6 months just in the Fourth Ward. Yes, Ms. Rainey.
I know there are a lot of neighborhoods around town, mine included, that have made requests to the township to put speed bumps on the roads that are pass-throughs for, some of the major roads. Have you looked at those requests and considered that as part of this bigger picture you're looking at?
We have not, but I will say now, if I can get that data, we can add that to our data set.
And next one, go ahead, you want to stand up?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, so it's kind of a piggyback off of what she's saying. It's important to have the data that you provided, but Montclair police show up to these accidents. I think it would be beneficial to the community and the effort that you and your team are putting forth to have real-time data. And we just talked about social media and some other things. Data is important. And, I live 2-3 blocks from here, and there have been multiple accidents within a 30-day period, and that's not showing up on your tracker. So I just want to recommend that maybe reaching out to the
That
police
is
department.
also just so you know, hotspots. So just because it's not dark red does not mean there were no crashes in that area. Just think about it. Bloomfield Ave, of course, has the most crashes, and that's why it's that bright red. But we do have crash data from throughout the entire community. It's just that map is just showing where the most were happening.
Yes, I was clear on that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think it's important to gather that information as well, because 10 accidents in a 30-day period would be like a high-risk area.
Yeah. Yes.
This is.
Question in the back?
Hi,
Hey.
my name is Quetta Jennings Howard. I live on the corner of 6 Elmwood Avenue and 6 Elmwood Avenue, corner of Maple Avenue. I've had my property damaged 3 times. I've had to erect numerous, and I just put up a brand new fence in 2024. And just last Monday, someone ran into my fence, again and tore it down.
And took over.
And of course, yes, and they took off. Not only that, I called the Department of Community Service. I have filled out numerous, for the last 10 years, numerous surveys. I'm tired of filling out surveys. I have called the Montclair Police. They come down, and it's always a hit and run. I've seen, in front of my house, I've seen myself 4 to 5 hit and runs where they come around Maple Avenue. I have asked, I called, I made suggestions. I spoke to Shantae. I make suggestions on what they need to do, because sometimes my grandchildren are in my yard, my son and I are out there jumping. They hit the stop sign, and the stop sign ends up halfway up the street. These are projectiles, and I'm telling you the force that is hit on the fence. The last time the cop found the wire to my fence up at 26 Elmwood Avenue. It is getting ridiculous because somebody's going to be killed. The last time the police found the stop sign was in the middle of my yard.
I understand.
And I have asked for speed bumps. I asked them, even if they temporarily put those reflectors on the sides, because
yes.
we have a senior citizen center in Glenfield Park where senior citizens are walking. We have a big park where we have young children, people walking their dogs. If somebody comes and a stop sign is projectile, it could cut somebody in half. And until somebody gets killed or something, nothing is going to be done. And I'm going to keep calling, and they told me the engineers are going to come out. I haven't seen anybody. But I told the cop, I'm going to put up a 360, because nobody stops at that stop sign.
I agree.
Everybody's in the middle of Maple Avenue when they come. They fly around Maple Avenue, and I'm tired. My house insurance is going to go up. I can't keep fixing a fence.
I understand. And please note, I agree with you. And please note, if there's not anything that I'm working on more than anything, it's traffic and pedestrian safety. Because when Vision Zero rolled out a few years ago, and it's no disrespect to you, Courtney, I noticed that the focus in town was not particularly across this side of Bloomfield Avenue. Okay, so the last administration, when Dave Cummings was here, you can ask him, and maybe I shouldn't say this on tape, but I threatened to burn his house down if he didn't get some traffic studies done. Is that serious? No, I'm serious. Because we can't be overlooked, all right? Now that I'm in this seat, all I'm doing is advocating. We had a complete streets director, Laura Trecchio, and we had a 3rd Ward and 4th Ward council meeting, and the next day she quit. Okay, so please understand, any accident that you see, report it to me. I am on it because I understand how unsafe the streets are in the 4th Ward. And if you notice, on the south end of town, we don't have any orange bollards, but if you go on this side of town, there are plenty of them. So the neglect has started a long time ago, and I'm here to correct it and fix it. I live on Woodland. It's a cut-through street. Cars come off of Maple Avenue on 2 wheels. We can't even cross the street. So I hear you, sis, and I'm with you. Yes.
Usually when people bring up things like this in these meetings, right, the reason why things don't get done fast is because things cost a lot of money, right? If you're going to put down roadworks.
That's not really true.
No, listen, it's about the excuse they give.
Yes.
Is that it's a lot of money. You have to wait for it. So getting a camera does not cost a lot of money. Because if there's a camera, you can then see the license plate, you can then record it. I got a doorbell Ring camera. I see stuff all the time. Most of the time when stuff happens, it's too blurred out to catch license plates. But I'm on Maple Avenue also, like I said, it's been plenty of times I almost got killed just crossing on the street.
I hear you.
So I know everybody does it. So my point is that that should be one thing that should be easy to do, is get some cameras out there in some way, because that's not expensive. Like,
So we just, I didn't mean to cut you off.
not just before you do cut me off. Once again, like you can, I'm quiet, but I'm telling you, there's nothing you can say about not just getting some cameras, because that's part of the we're in like 2025. You know, it's easy to get a camera. You can get a doorbell Ring camera for $25 on eBay, or on. So cameras are the easiest thing to get to at least be able to catch these people who are doing these things. get these license plates to report to the police so the police can do their job.
Right. Right. What I was going to say, and I was saying I didn't mean to cut you off, is we just had a hearing for community development block grant funds on October 20th, and the public was invited to come out and say where they would like to see these monies be spent, because it's specific for areas in the 3rd and 4th ward that have underserved or affordable housing, and cameras could be an option. I said it earlier in the meeting. I know that you and your wife came in a little later. You have to come to these council meetings and have your 3 minutes to say in front of the full governing body, because if they don't see you, they don't hear me. Okay? It's going to take all of us to make an effective change for Ward 4. We have been neglected and overlooked for a very long time. And if we're going to work together to bring change, I need you at meetings. I need you to have your 3 minutes and say exactly what it is you would like this governing body to do. I can't do it by myself. You have to be behind me, and I'll get behind you.
And I need you to answer the survey.
That too.
That's why I came tonight, too.
Thank you, Scott. You have one question or statement, because I have to have one more presentation. He is.
He's been dying to get in New Jersey. He can come to Montclair. He can put up cameras. We can get a state exemption. We have a governor who just on Sunday had an accident 1.5 blocks from her house. So it's high time we also hit our governor-to-be, because is she technically in the 4th ward? Sorry, I don't know.
She's in the 3rd ward.
So to me, it doesn't matter. My kids go where your kids go, your grandkids. We should all be safe. It took less than 30 minutes for a dog to almost be run over coming back into the country. Not even 30 minutes. We can get cameras. It can be done, and he's more than willing to help. We're trying to get a guy from DC to interact. Susan Shin hasn't got back to me. We can do things like that. We have gone beyond. Normally in life, it's ready, fire, aim. We are at the fire, re-aim, fire. The number of deaths, you have no idea now. You are beyond right. There's been so many deaths. I would nominate us for potentially the most dangerous town in America. We run. The number of street deaths. Who here has had a near miss in the last week? Who's had more than 2? Who's had 3? I run, I cycle, I drive my kids. It is a constant. And if I didn't yield, my hand would be up to about 10. Now my kids, I almost saw my child die right in front of my eyes in Gordon Valley. The county is in agreement. One of the councilmen wants another study. All we do is study. We are past study. So I stood up to the last council, and this is not how I am in my day-to-day. My work's been fired so quickly. I just say this, I have to be diplomatic. Diplomacy does not work in Montclair. It does not work. And you can find a clip somebody made of it, we stand there, put it all together, should do a good job. I'm protecting my kids, my dog, myself, and I realize, as I told other parents, I'm also protecting you, because we go everywhere. We as a community are not safe. So where I'm in danger, you're next. You're next. You're next. Sorry, I feel a bit regard. I don't have regard, but there's another woman who does the same thing I do. And she was warned when she bought her place. Never have your kids play in that corner. She's had to pick up 3 cars from her place. And so there's many things. Whenever I talk, there's many things we can do with the money. Many. There's actually Laura Torchett, a number of them. We have the bike walk Montclair guy, who's a high school teacher, has brilliant suggestions. None of them would be negative in the 12 years I've been here. And the county, now great news, we got Brendan Gill running for higher office. Let's prod him. Let's prod him. Let's prod him harder. Let's prod our governor to be.
Oh, she's really.
All right. Okay. All right. We're gonna change the channel now. You can definitely. Yes.
How fast? Put your hand up when you think cars are. Do you think they're going over 40? Over 50? Over 60? Over 70? Speed sentries the police have put have them over 70. You have no idea how fast, and over 30, if it's an SUV, you're toast. If it's over 40, generally, statistically speaking, see you later. And I don't mean to be light in that. It is so, cars are going faster than you think. I didn't get to stop signs. The summer we almost got taken out, my daughter and I, walking to camp. That's a harder metric, but we have a real problem. I told Amina, I think it's time for grassroots, because, and no offense against the counselors, but it ain't working. The studies ain't working. I've been here 12 years, almost nothing. Spielman only got done because I went and yelled at the counselors, and Russo jumped on. I did see some of the emails. I saw who was opposing it. Someone who ran for traffic safety actually opposed it. And when she got a reminder of her press release, and it was often as well as a petition, she suddenly changed her mind.
Yes, Frank.
I know at one point,
Just a little louder.
the police department had cameras at specific locations that, well, I hope there are no lawbreakers here, but either the cameras were not turned on or they weren't working, because I had an incident and said to the police officer, look at the cameras, and he says, no, like, it's not on. And I'm like, why are there cameras?
So everything that's being shared tonight by you residents, I can share it with my council colleagues, but it doesn't mean it's going to move anywhere. You move the needle when you come to our council meetings and have your 3 minutes. Then the full body hears it, and then the needle will move. I've seen it work when people come out together, the same topic, in front of the full council, action happens. I can email my council colleagues all day. It doesn't mean I'm moving the needle. But if you come out, now we're getting ready to have a whole record. So just keep that in mind. You're always welcome to email me. I will continue to champion for the 4th Ward and make sure that we get some things that we need down here. But please keep in mind, I'm one vote, one voice. If they don't see you, they are not listening to me. I promise you that. Okay? So I'm just reminding you. I need to get to my next presentation in the interest of time. You had a quick question. Go ahead, Ms.
I just wanted to say that I go to a lot of the meetings, and the same people are always at the meetings. I've never seen half of what I see here. Right, and I mean, it can only be the voice for voices. So if you don't come, they don't think you care.
I think that, yeah, you're right. But, you know, decisions are made based on emotions, and it really should be based on facts. This is my opinion. And if, well, that was before my tenure, but correct. You know, what I'm saying is I've seen other groups show up in droves and action take place on email the very next day amongst my counselor colleagues. Okay, so I'm just one person. But if somebody wants to meet with Scott in the back and get like a little resident group going here, then y'all have at it, and I'll stand behind it.
Everyone can email there's many things to be done, but I think if we get cameras, because can you imagine, you know, someone comes home, hey honey, there's 3 things in the tickets in the mail that you would have got the first couple of weeks. By the way, they're $400 a pop. You didn't even slow down.
I did ask for cameras last year when the community.
And we can do it. But we've got, if everybody emails, every counselor, and we can just put them all on, you know, separated, please get cameras. Because at least we can start with the awareness. Because then it's going to show the need. I was great to see the survey I did. A couple of people said, no way on 7th. You have no idea where you can drive 7th on. That's a highway speed. There's only one highway in the US.
Thank you, Scott. All right. And just so you know, last year I did put in for cameras with the Community Development Block Grant funding for last year, and somehow it got twisted up with our township manager in the county and turned into streetscaping for Maple Avenue. We don't need any more lights out there because Glenville Park illuminates Maple Avenue. So I'm trying to get those lights put on Miller, but I did ask for cameras and we didn't get them. So again, the ask was put in. But perhaps Ms. Talley and other individuals at 205 need to see more residents at our council meetings demanding that, and then maybe the narrative will change. Yes, ma'am. One last question, and I have to get to our next presentation. Yes, ma'am.
The fact that where they put in the 4-way stops and the 3-way stops, they have helped a lot to slow down on Washington and on Lincoln. So it's something to consider.
Yes. And just so you know, the county, we've worked with, well, tried to talk to the county. We did talk to the county regarding traffic lights. They're willing to put traffic lights up if we, the township, go in half with them. Those traffic lights are like $500,000. And I just don't know if that's feasible for No, I agree. I'm just letting you know because some people asked about actual stops, traffic lights going up. The county will not put up any four-way stops on county roads, is what they told us. They will put up a traffic light and go half with us on the cost. So what are you supposed to do? Pay $500,000 or I don't know what the answer is. We definitely need a new complete streets director to help us. I've asked our manager to put an RFP out, and he did, for an in-house engineer, which I showed earlier. We have some job openings. We have a engineering firm that we're using, and to be honest with you, and I told this to the manager as well as my counselor colleagues, that the engineering firm that we're using, in my opinion, they are not designed to tell us no, because then they don't make any money. All right? We need an in-house engineer that knows our town, that's going to understand our town, the ins and out, and look for more creative ways to address some of the problems we're having here. So with that said, we're going to turn this portion of the meeting over to Mr. William Harrison, our counselor at large, to go over some Lackawanna updates, and you can do your questions at the end, please and thank you. Thank you, Bill. Sorry. I don't know. I'll figure it out later.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. So just to again do a very quick update on Lackawanna. You probably have questions and people watching me what I'm going to say. The plan, I'm sure as most of you know, the planning board approved the project. Legal challenges were filed to that approval. There's now been a briefing schedule set, and I think it's scheduled to be heard at the trial level in February. So we're months away from getting that resolved, absent the developer reaching a settlement with those opposing it, along with the township. But the developer properly is not going to proceed with any development until the challenge is resolved. I have represented developers in the same position, and you advise them don't proceed. It's because you're doing it at your risk, and you don't want to do that. We are, in the meantime, to be ready at the point the court upholds the approval. We're negotiating a redevelopment agreement with the developer. We're coming close to a conclusion with that, I think. I mean, there are only a few remaining issues that need to be resolved. We also have to work out a financial agreement with the developer, and that is something that, should also be completed long before the litigation is resolved, and that's where it stands. The project is entitled to proceed based on the planning board approval and consistent with the redevelopment plan, and that's really a summary of where things stand. And I'm sure some of you have questions as to where it is. I can't discuss the details because it's involved in litigation, which the township is a party to, but we have been meeting at each council meeting with our attorneys to move forward with the redevelopment agreement. The redevelopment plan calls for a supermarket.
Is that does the redevelopment plan say that there's going to be, or is that, when I remember reading the language, and it was very tenuous.
A supermarket. I don't think it was tenuous.
No? Okay.
Are you able to tell us what the last approved plan includes generally, and more specifically, what that plan approves for Grove Street?
No, you mean in terms of what improvements to Grove Street? I wasn't on the planning board or on the council when it was approved, and I know the general outlines of the buildings that were approved and the sequence of those buildings, but some of that is being worked out in the redevelopment agreement, but I have not seen anything specific as to what changes are being made to Grove Street.
Sir, I'm sorry, you're telling us that a plan has been approved.
Correct.
and that the developer can proceed pending the resolution of litigation, but you're not able to tell us what has been approved?
No.
What the impact is going to be to the immediate surrounding community?
Okay, I can tell you what the planning board approved.
That's what I asked you. What did the planning board approve?
They approved a supermarket with parking above that, with offices above that. They approved residential buildings and then an office building at the corner of Grove and Bloomfield Avenue on the west side of the street.
And how many?
How many what?
How many buildings? How many apartments?
300 apartments with requirement for low and moderate income housing, 20%, requirement for workforce housing is all part of the approval.
And does the plan approve any changes to Grove Street to accommodate this building?
That's the question. By not being part of it, I have seen the layout, but it just shows Grove Street as a linear street.
It has no details that are Grove Street.
No, I'm not saying that. I am not aware of the Grove Street portion of it because that's not been.
And I'm afraid I don't understand, because if you have all of these other details about the plan, what is specific about Grove Street that cannot be?
It's not a. It is simply I was not on the planning board. I have not seen the sheets. You know, the multiple sheets of the plan are something I've never seen. Those plans are available in town hall. You can go and look and see what was approved on the plan.
So you're suggesting that it come to apply to plan?
Yeah, and the plan should still be on the township website. Yeah. If you go to the planning department, go to planning board, and you go to applications, and you'll click on the project, and it will show you exactly what was approved.
And before the next question, I just want to say, I believe Councilor Anderson is having a meeting here December 3rd, and she's doing Lackawanna updates as well. Maybe there'll be some new information to share at that meeting, and you're very welcome to attend. But go ahead with your question, I'm sorry, I just want to put that out there.
So, Mr. Scott, we're at a point that we have site plans. The site plans will really not only tell you the development, but also are we going to have traffic studies that have been updated, environmental studies that have been updated, because that would be a part of the whole planning board.
Right. All the information that was submitted to the planning board should be available on the township website. Nothing has been updated since the plan was approved because it's in litigation. Yes?
That ties into my next question. How fresh should the data be? 90 days, 180 days? Because you said the information has not been updated since a while ago. And in my mind, considering market conditions and things of that nature, perhaps.
Okay. I'm going to give you a very legal answer, which you are not going to like, but it is the law. The developer received an approval from the planning board. The developer is by law entitled to, assuming the approval is upheld by court, the developer is entitled to proceed with the development as approved by the planning board, period. He is not required to go and update it, modify it. If he decides to modify the plan, he can come to the board and they can make further changes, but that approval gives him protection from changes being required by the community.
So that you can answer the question that you did. My next question is, and I'll be done, with regard to the supermarket, I know we are not able to understand the details of the type of supermarket that's coming in there at this point, but would it be a full supermarket
with produce, meats, fish, you know, a fresh market, a fresh produce section, a fresh meat market, things of that nature, with the typical things that would be found in like a supermarket or a Stop and Shop, or even another brand.
The plan requires a supermarket. The approval specifies, I believe it's from 30,000 to 50,000 square feet. The plan lists a number of products that have to be covered. I do not view that list as being all-inclusive, saying you only have to sell these products. I think a supermarket has a common English language meaning as to what products you expect to find in it. That's something that does change over time, but whether I go to ShopRite, Acme, King's, Whole Foods, you don't quite get everything, but but I have an expectation going into any supermarket as to the products I expect to find there. Yes?
What is the relevance of state regulations that were passed this past June concerning construction distances from underground water on a plan that was passed prior to those regulations going into effect?
I will stick with the answer of the developer is entitled, and the DEP regulations have provisions basically grandfathering development that was completed, approved prior to certain dates. The municipal land use law is very specific as to once you get an approval, what you're entitled to and the period of time you're protected from any changes. I will keep repeating, they're required to have a supermarket. I'm trying to figure out what I can say without going into discussions that we're having on the redevelopment agreement. I think a supermarket has a common meaning as to what products you expect to have available. And I think, I am as frustrated as all of you are that the property has been sitting there for a very long time, very underutilized, and and at this point, nothing can be done as long as the litigation is pending, and my guess is we're probably a year away from the litigation being resolved unless the people challenging it don't file an appeal. But even then, we're probably 9 months away, would be my guess, just on how long it typically takes courts to resolve cases like this. Yes?
Refer to in the third person, but he's sitting with us in this room. So I just wonder if maybe there's some questions, like will there be a meat department at your supermarket? And that it might be nice if you can answer some questions, or maybe because of litigation you're unable to, but the fact that you're in this room with us, it seems a little uncomfortable that there's so many questions about this plan, and you're here and might be able to answer and share with the community about the concerns, and that's not happening. And I just kind of wanted to do.
Thank you for saying that.
Then why are you here? Why are you here if you're not going to answer the questions that were asked?
I'm here as a resident of Montclair. I wasn't invited to present to answer questions. If anything, I am completely available, as a lot of you know, to any of the questions that you have. My cell phone number is out there. I'll give it to you outside of this room at the end of this meeting. My email is available to everybody. I know a lot of you that are in this room. We have had conversations over the years. I think a lot of you know we have had a supermarket since 2021 that wants to open here.
I think you all know that I've been a resident of this town for a long time. I am as frustrated as you all are that this property is set idle and vacant. We are working to implement a plan that the Township Council approved a couple of years ago. I'm here as a concerned citizen. I heard Lackawanna was going to be discussed. Candidly, I've been waiting for years, like the rest of you, for the township to make the next steps in the approval process, which, as the councilman just explained, is the redevelopment agreement and the financial agreement. Our hands are bound and tied until those things take place, and as you mentioned, the litigation gets resolved. So I'm not a spy. I am literally sitting in the middle of this room, out in the open, and I think most of you know how to find me, and if you don't, by all means, I will give you my business card outside of here. But I'm here to get information as well. That's why I'm here. I was not invited to answer questions. Happy to answer questions outside of this room if you have any.
I missed the name of the supermarket. I heard you say there's a supermarket.
We've never said the name of the supermarket, as you know. As far as I understand, as the councilman has explained, supermarkets carry a number of products. I don't know where anyone's conflating or hearing that there's no meat here. I can only assume that there is a vegan festival being held at Lackawanna in the next week, and maybe that's where the no meat is coming from. I do know the Surgeon General is warning us all to reduce our red meat consumption, so maybe there's other people who don't want a supermarket to sell red meat. But as far as I know, every supermarket that I've ever been into, every small market I've ever been into, particularly provide meat as a product. So I don't expect this to be an issue.
You spent 2 hours on your explanation. You answer every question you have.
I do hope that you were given the courtesy of being notified about the approval.
I signed up for the newsletter and learned about that, which I thought was great. It came to me. I didn't have to go find it. So I appreciate you pushing that information out to us as residents of the township.
Do we have another question for Mr. Harrison? Yes, sir. Do we have another question for Mr. Harrison? Yes, right. Wait 1 second. We can just keep it down so that we can hear each other. We can keep it down so we can hear each other.
That's a lot of apartments, which means there's going to be a lot more traffic, probably a lot more accidents. Is that in the consideration of why stop a lot, increase traffic, increase more people, et cetera? Because like the book lab was supposedly the highest fatalities or crashes. Anything to do with that? As far as the company, how much of crash?
Okay. I am going to give you an answer that you are not going to like, and I don't like either, but as part of the planning board approval, the developer presented traffic information. The planning board reviewed that. They had information from their consultants, and they approved the project. And as I said before, they're entitled to build that project. And I think there are a lot of questions. I'm going to do, apart from the project, there has been a lot more traffic in town. I don't quite know why there's a lot more traffic, but absolutely there is more traffic than there was. This development will add to traffic. I think it's important that as the project is developed, the township and the county, because we're talking about 2 county roads primarily, that to study what happens and identify any additional improvements that need to be made. It is, I think it's imperative that occur as the project's developed, because the reality is it's going to be several years for the project to be built, and it's, in one sense, it's good because it's going to happen gradually. By another sense, the traffic conditions when the project, say, gets halfway built are going to be likely very different than what their traffic consultant said. Not saying it was inaccurate, but traffic today is different than it was 5 years from now. Traffic 5 years from now is likely to be different than it is today, and that will need to be evaluated at that time. That is what was presented to the plan. Like one person at a time. Let me respond to her question first. Okay. The board accepted a traffic study from the developer. The board reviewed it. The board approved the application. Whether they should have asked for more, different, whatever, it's in the past, can't be undone. The board approved it.
That was done by the in-house people that do all the traffic studies and to please us. It was done on January 5th and 6th. And there's a lot of evidence that it's an incredibly flawed study. Given the lack of traffic that time of year, it was totally unrealistic. And the person who presented, whose name I've conveniently forgotten, was unaware of what were county roads and other incredible information that almost any putz who lives here knows. So if you're, and I believe that traffic study was done by the township, not by the developer, with our in-house consultant.
There were both what the developer did and what was done on behalf of the township. And I'm just simply saying the board had the information, the board had the ability to ask questions, the public had the ability to ask questions of the witnesses, but the planning board acted, and whether that was a wonderful decision, an awful decision, based on the right information, the wrong information, that is the approval that was granted, and absent it being overturned in court, that is the approval that the developer gets to proceed on, unless they wait many, many, many years after the court decision.
Scott, he had a hand up, and then I'll go Sarah, and then Ms. Hewlett. Mr. Scott, you had a question?
Just back to the supermarket, I think, Ms. Harrison, you indicated the size is between 30,000 square feet and 50,000 square feet. Is that the minimum size?
Yes, that's my recollection.
Was that close to the equivalent of what Pathmark was?
The upper end is approximately what the Pathmark was.
And moving towards a full-size supermarket.
You know, a 50,000 square foot supermarket is a full-size supermarket. I've represented clients that that's, you know,
I think Pathmark is 48 or 46. I'm not 100% certain, but it's easy to Google and find out.
Is there ever an opportunity to attend the developer planning board against planning meeting? Is that a possibility ever?
Well, the planning board meetings are open to the public.
I'm saying that Ms. Talley has meetings with
development
developers
review
prior
those are
to
open.
them getting
Those are open to
to
the public.
us publicly. Is there an opportunity to sit in and understand what's going on?
and Ms. Avery will do you next.
I am going to speak out of turn, and but since it's being recorded, the Development Review Committee meetings, there are times when the Development Review Committee is acting on an application. Those are noticed, and they have to do full notice that you do for any planning board hearing. When they are not acting on an application, just reviewing it, there's no notice. They are posted on the township website, so you can find out that way. But I think those meetings be helpful if the public attended and could see what was going on, what the discussion are, because at those meetings, the members, I used to be on the Development Review Committee before they volunteered me on the council, but you know, it's a lot of the members of the committee provide input to the developer as to, we like this, we don't like that, and it's something that it would be useful for members of the public. As I said, they are on the township website. They typically meet the first Thursday of the month in the conference room, second floor of the municipal building. But if I was being impacted by a project, I would find it worthwhile to go to those meetings.
Because it seems that Ms. Talley has a lot of
for someone who doesn't even live in Montclair. So he made huge decisions to developers.
Well, I mean, it is not her decision, but I understand what you're saying. Okay. Ms. Avery?
Yeah, so, number one, Mr. Harrison, thank you. You said several times presented a traffic study, when in fact, it is the residents who paid over $130,000 to Brightview Engineering for this traffic study that Bonnie had pointed out was flawed because it was taken, at a time which was, off of normal heavy traffic. Plus, when I went through that study, see, I live south of Bloomfield Avenue, but I walk my dog every day on Elm Street going north. And over the past 2 years, the traffic on Elm Street has increased exponentially, okay? I see cars backed up all the way to as far as Lincoln Street, so that's a half a mile from the Bloomfield Avenue intersection. And furthermore, when you review the traffic study by Brightview Engineering, they didn't count cars on Elm Street. Okay, so that's number one, what I wanted to point out. Number two, I went through the town council meeting minutes for every meeting where Lackawanna Plaza was a topic of conversation. And I took a tally of every single resident who spoke for or against Lackawanna Plaza at those meetings. And the majority of people who spoke were against this particular development. So the issue, in my mind, that we have here in Montclair is that democracy is not working, because democracy is supposed to be what the people want. And as far as I can see, everything I touch, and I have touched a lot. I have over 6,000 documents, including narratives and analyses of a whole variety of issues in this town that extends, of course, to the NJEA. And over and over and over again, here we are at this meeting. We go to council meetings. We speak out. And we are not heard if the people who are in power do not want to hear us. And that's what I have to say. And that's what I have to say.
All right, any other questions?
More statement. I took a similar tally of the minutes of all the times Lackawanna Plaza was discussed at council meetings, and when I disregard the same people that continually speak at every meeting against the project and look at unique comments from unique individuals, the overwhelming majority of the people who spoke were actually in favor of the redevelopment plan.
And were they residents of Montclair?
I think actually on the vote that approved it, one of the council members tallied it as well and made a point to reference that they thought it was unusual that there were more people in support of the project than against the project. I think one of the real issues today with democracy is fake news and misinformation.
Oh, you just said it all.
I just want to say, Mr. Plaza, that meeting you're referring to, with Laura Price Abrams kept the tally, it was 49 and 50. I actually kept the same tally. So it wasn't that many.
Okay, but we have to
But
look
we're
at
not going to go down that road today. All right? We're not going to go down that road today.
He spoke out of turn, I had to wait to be recognized.
Yes.
I want everybody to know that I have to wait to be recognized, but he can speak out whenever he wants.
No, I called on him. I called on him.
He raised his
He raised his hand. and
But
did
I
call
raised
him.
my hand, I was sitting here.
Yeah, and I acknowledged you. I said, Bonnie, this is Scott, Sarah, and I apologize if somebody was recording. But we did recognize you. Are there any more questions regarding Lackawanna? Anything? I'm sorry?
The school scene, the school.
We are. I just wanted to make sure that I could close out for Lackawanna, let people know where we are with this. Again, please come to our council meeting, bring 3 minutes to our podium, so that everyone can hear from you regardless what the issue is, and even if you don't know what to talk about, want to talk about your sewer bills, if you want to talk about cabinetry and, response times not being enough, you must come to our meetings and bring your voices. So with that said, we were going to just do a little flip, and I'm going to end it on camera, because this part of the meeting, I don't want televised.
Okay.
So,